morning and welcome back to the woods. And in today's video I'm going to be using the Selvans again. It's had a regrind. It's gone from a 30 degree V-edge, as the DBK boys call it. I've always called it a secondary bevel, but they call it a V-grind or a V-edge. And I've reground it to a 24 degrees. Now I may have made a mistake here. I think I should have gone shallower because it's a convex, because I put it on with the Ken onion grinder. So we're going to try that out, and I'm going to light the fire with this little puppy. Yes, it's a bit flashy. The Exotac, I think it's called the nanospark. I bought this last week and I'd like to try it out. Right then, let's light the fire. Need a cup of tea. On my way in today, I found this piece of, I found quite a bit of punk wood, and this is really punky. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this underneath that, so it's touching it, and see if it'll char. And then I'm going to try it out, then when it's dry and it's gone out, with that little nanospark, see if it works. May work, may not. Worth a go. Everything's worth a go. Now then, I don't know if any of you guys watch Felix Imler. I do. I like watching Felix. Good knowledge, skillful guy. And he put a video up last week. I think it was something like unknown fire lighting. Nobody knows this. And basically what it was, peeling bark from different trees. Now this is something I do know because I've been doing it for years. He's using this as tinder. Sometimes it'll spark with a ferro rod, sometimes it won't. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to peel these off now, and I'm going to use this little gadget. I'm going to use the tinder that's inside it, because there's no way on planet Earth that is going to light with that nanospark. So I'm going to use the tinder in the nanospark, and then I'm going to light a bundle of this and then a bundle of twigs. Give me a minute because I need to prep it all. No, I haven't used this yet, so all I've done is spark it. I haven't done anything else with it. So I'm going to get the tinder out now. Hopefully I won't need to use it all. It did come with 4 spares. I'll tease it out, drop it on the floor. Now this is what I'd call a fussy fire. A lot of fuss. It's not just making a pile of feather sticks and chucking a load of twigs and splits on. You've got to be really selective. Well, I've got my little pile of bark, Felix's bark. I've got some extremely thin twigs and a few other twigs. If you're wondering why I've put them splits on the outside of the fire, it's because this birch is slightly damp. So it's not going to go up straight away, but the heat coming from the fire as I light it with all the twigs will help to dry it out. Now, I've watched no videos on this, nothing at all. I like to come into things my own way. I think I'll cut this in half. My trusty Swiss Army knife. I think I'll use the scissors. Where's the scissors? Yeah, I think half will be enough. There we go. I'm assuming I need to tease it right up. I don't know if there's any wax in this, but guess what? I have got some wax firelighters as well. And I'm going to play around with this gadget after. Right, let's go. I'm not going to put them all on at once. I'm going to hold them above for a minute. That's enough for now. I don't want to smother it. I'll wait 30 to 60 seconds and I'll put some more on. Well, I think we'll call that a success. That's not going out. Yeah, so the nanospark, if I use the Tinder and a bit of common sense, works great. I did actually buy it mainly for lighting a gas stove, rather than carrying a ferro rod, and sometimes a lighter can fail, and I use jet lighters most of the time, so they've got no spark. So that's why I really bought it, but I thought, let's try it out. And it works. Well, the kettle's on, so all is well with the world. And them damp pieces of birch did not take long to dry at all. They're all burning. I'm just going to push them in a minute so they're underneath the kettle. That worked great. That is charring nicely. I think I'll pull it out after I've had a cup of tea. the sun has come out and it's warmed up, stripped off. Now, I thought it only fair, after doing this regrind, to come back to this spot and to use the materials I used the last time. So I'm going to use exactly the same stuff. I've got a piece of nice spruce for shaving up. I've still got a piece of that dead ash, which I'm going to chop up. Obviously at the start of the video I split the birch up with it, and this thing as a splitter is awesome. You know, it's thick, it's a beast, it's going to split just about anything. And as I said about that, I think that is an absolutely great idea. Get what I mean? Yes. Now, one thing I have actually done to this as well, I have taken the coating off the ferro rod striking surface, and I tried it at home with my regular ferro rod and it worked just fine. Now, I did switch kit today, so I've actually got an Exotac ferro rod with me for reasons which will become apparent later on. This thing isn't great. It's nowhere near as good as a Swedish rod. It's soft, then it's hard. It's just a strange old ferro rod. I have got a falcon with me with a sharp spine, which doesn't happen very often on a ferro rod, on a falcon, so I'll be using that later on. I'll give it a go with this, but I don't think it's going to work. The thing is, with a 90-degree spine, brilliant. This hasn't got a 90-degree spine. It's like that. But, you know, that's never going to be a great ferro rod striking surface. It's just not going to be. But then if you're going to carry a knife like this, carry a fire lighting tool, you know, or a striker with your ferro rod. It's too big, it's too clumsy, it's no good for. I know other people have said it's great. This is my opinion. Right, I'm going to chop this piece of ash up. Now I know I've done that a different way. I've done it standing up instead of horizontal, but that's chopping a lot better. That 6-degree difference making a big difference. Now as I'm doing this, I'm going through the grit and dirt from the ground. Now that will dull a knife. Grit and dirt dulls knives, it just does. Now, I haven't touched the tip, I've only ground that edge, and I took it back further there because it was about 1/4 of an inch out, so I just took it back. Obviously it's still the same as last time. Ash is crap for shaving. Yes, not really fair on the thing. It's definitely an improvement shaving with it. As I say, ash is crap. So I'm going to switch to some spruce. Now, I don't like feather sticking this way, but after watching other people on their videos, this is the way to go with this large bladed knife. Well, I shouldn't say large, it's not that large, but it's heavy. I think this is the way to go. I will sit down and do it as well. I'll do it this way first. Well, it's not biting in. It just doesn't want to bite in. I'll try a thicker piece. But they're nice and fine. But I am finding wrist fatigue doing it that way, because I'm just not used to doing it that way. Sit down and do it. Nope, this just doesn't suit me at all. I think this knife basically is a hard use knife. Shaving? Nah. See how sharp it is. Maybe shaving when I left home. It still shaves. Why doesn't it curl? I've made a decision. This is a hard use knife for battening and for chopping. It's no good for making fine curls. No way. I'll stick to a smaller knife. But I did find with the new grind, chopping was an absolute breeze. It hasn't lost its edge. that could have been a micro burr or something on it last time. That's why it went blunt. Could have been. But no, the steel's tough enough. It's just, I think the amount of meat on the blade here and the coating on it just don't make it a good shaver. One more go. Well, I got plenty of fine shavings off it. I just find it really difficult to control it. Now, I'll be able to light these with a ferro rod, no problem at all. And it'll plough through to make thicker stuff. So it'll definitely make a fire. It's just not what I'm used to, basically. Now, I probably did upset a few people last week by not giving it a particularly good review, because this knife has really got its fans. It's just something about that edge, it just doesn't shave well enough for me personally. And I'm not an idiot. I've been doing this a long time. I've got a lot of knives, I've used a lot of knives, and I've made a lot of knives. And I don't understand why that won't shave with good control. Just don't understand it. May change the grind again, or what I may do is put just that section on the DMTs and give it a flat bevel instead of the convex. Keep that section there for chopping, although the only thing is, because of the length of the blade, when you're splitting you are coming to about here or even to there. If it was 9-10 inch blade, you could probably do it without even touching there, so that could chip. Thinking hat on, I don't want to give up on this knife because I really like it. It's basically a very expensive MOD knife now, but then again, I wouldn't just take one knife to the woods anyway. Take something small with it, like I did last time, and I used the folder to make my curls. Well, the fire I lit earlier, didn't even use a knife for that. I just used my scissors to cut that piece of tinder in half. If the weather's good and it's dry and you can gather stuff, you don't really need a knife. But if the chips are down, that's when your tools come into their own. I'll use the world's oddest ferro rod to see if I can light these. The only good thing about this is tinder in the handle, and it looks pretty. It's awful. Go away, bee. So fire with the knife I can't do much good shavings with, and the ferro rod I think's crap. They both actually work. So I'm going to shut my mouth now and just go and have a cup of tea. Well, that's an hour of chopping, splitting and shaving with the Selvans, and I think I was asking too much of it. I think I was asking it to perform like an axe, like a fro and like Scandi for shaving. I was asking too much for it. This is a hard use knife. This is meant for smashing up logs, making some rough shavings just to get by. This is not a tool for carving spoons and making feather sticks. I was too hard on it. It's kept its edge just fine now. There's nothing wrong with the edge. So it must have been like a micro burr or something on it that made it dull. I think that the regrind was a good thing, but I should have taken it down more because it was a convex. I think I should have taken it to 20. I think I'll leave it as it is and just use it as a hard use knife. It's a lovely knife and it does the job, and that now works pretty good. For me to light a feather stick with this crappy ferro rod, I'm pleased with that. Obviously it doesn't work as well as a proper 90-degree spine, but it worked, and that's the main thing. I did have to take the coating off. It was just a little touch on the grinder and off it came. Yes, I won't be touching that. There's no point, leave it nice and strong. Right, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate your comments, and I certainly appreciate that thumbs up. Until the next time, ta-ra. I'll stop moaning. I'll shut my mouth and stop moaning. I'll be lighting the fire again in this thing, and to be honest with you, I fucking hate this thing. I really don't like lighting a fire in it, but it's so much easier to clean up and go and use it.